Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Hubert Fong, and I'm doing this project that some of you know. It's called Penang Bike Share. So I myself, I'm a very passionate cyclist, and I hope my passion will overtake Penang, right? And when I tell my friends about my passion for cycling, I go non-stop. So, 10 minutes, Hubert, that's it. I don't want to hear about it anymore. And Winston called me up and said, Hubert, would like you to share some of your ideas. I went, really? So I apologize in advance for making all of you my guinea pigs for today. So 10 reasons to get on a bike. When we started this project, we realized that the easy part is actually building this infrastructure for Penang, right? The hard part is trying to get everybody change their habits. You're not tied to your vehicle, tied to your cars any longer, and you get on this old school transport, the bicycle, right? And bicycles have changed a lot since both you and I, when we started cycling when we were kids, or when your parents cycled. It's very different. And I'm an engineer at heart, and I love cycling first and foremost because it's technology. Technology nowadays changes markets and changes the ways products are delivered. And bike share changes the way this product is delivered. So traditionally a bicycle, you get it your own, and you have to take care of it. It gets stolen, you go, oh no. Bike share, you no longer have to worry about that, and it changes the landscape. And technology nowadays in cycling could make any technological geek cry, right? It all starts from carbon fiber bicycles, okay? So it all starts on one of these machines made in Switzerland. You get weaves of fiber going through, and it gets roboticized and weaved into this fiber and gets cast in resin, right? Well, unfortunately, bikes won't be using this exotic material, but it's just to say the technology in this sector. And what has happened in the last decade is that data has driven cycling, driven sport, right? I have a bicycle computer on my bike, and it tells me how far I've gone. What's the time? Easy. What my heart rate is, I have a heart rate monitor, and it tracks me on GPS and tracks me wherever I go. And this is what I call my CyclingCV. This is where I have been on my bicycle. So I started my cycling career in Melbourne. I spent 16 years of my life there. And you can see, I like to cycle around the coast. There's this big bay in the middle. And there's a big red spot, which is a 100K route that I used to do every Sunday. Then I moved over to Perth, over here, and I started really, really going passionate about cycling. And the reason being, when I moved over for work, I was there for 2 years, 2.5 years. And I brought two things with me. I brought my luggage, and I brought my bicycle. Go, I have the bicycle. I have this bicycle case that allows me to bring it on the plane, so I just went to the airport with these two things and lived in Perth for 2 years. So my primary mode of transport for those 2.5 years was the bicycle. I went to groceries with it, I went to work with it, I went for sport with it, I went to see concerts with it, did everything on my bicycle. And now I'm in Penang. I came back here 1 year and a couple months ago and started my cycling career here. So you can see I've been to Kedah a bit and done a lot of loops around Tanjung Bunga, around Straits Key, for example. So what does this mean? Up on the screen, there is 50,000 kilometers of cycling tracked, okay, of my 6 years of career. And it has allowed me pretty good health. All my old friends will know me as this fat kid, all right? I'm not really exactly fat nowadays. And it has allowed me pretty good cardiovascular health. And if you think about cycling, you're on this bicycle, right? Sitting on the seat, you are supported by handlebars, and you have pedals. Your whole body is supported. Your whole body, when you're cycling, you're focusing on running this machine of blood pumping, heart, muscles, just to turn those wheels. You do not have to worry about supporting yourself. You don't have to worry about joints hitting the floor. You don't worry about blisters on your shoes hitting the ground, right? Which is why cyclists generally have pretty good baseline for cardio. And once you get to that stage, you actually have a lot of capacity for physical, mental, and psychological pressure, right? And it's become quite common nowadays in Australia, where they identify this. Just to illustrate, it's a bit hard to see here, but this is one of my rides which I did in this year, April, called Tour of East Taiwan. So it's pretty flat, and I got to a hill at the end. When I got to the hill, I spent 30 minutes with my heart rate at 185 beats per minute. So that's what I call heart attack territory, right? So I was having a heart attack for 30 minutes, but I was fine, right? So next time I have a heart attack at work, I'll be like, no problem. So, but this is what happens, when your body's conditioned, okay? This is a pretty good feature of being a cyclist. And because of that, you end up being very good with handling emotional situations. You have high emotional quotient, people get you angry, you go, okay, just another day. And most importantly, it makes you very good at work, okay? Makes you so good that you have to cut yourself back and go, Hubert, you shouldn't work so much. And maybe my staff in the back goes like, Hubert, you don't work enough. But another reason a lot of people know that they cycle is because it's sustainable. Okay, everyone knows it's sustainable, but really, how sustainable is it? So a newspaper in the UK asked the same question: how sustainable is cycling? So they compared it with the internal combustion engine of an automobile, which produced 271 grams of CO2 per kilometer. Okay. Any guesses on how much would the bicycle emit? Any guesses? Zero? People who say zero forget the fact that the human is an engine, right? So we actually have fuel we must consume. So actually, a lot of it comes from what food we consume. So a lot of people go, don't worry, you cycle, you're green. In actual fact, being green and sustainable is a lifestyle choice, and a lifestyle choice that we hope to bring to Penang. Okay, if you just purely fueled by bananas, cyclist's favorite food, you are down at 46 grams per kilometer. If you happen to eat bacon, I like bacon, so 142 grams per kilometer. And if you exclusively eat air-flown asparagus and imported for your fuel source, you'll be up there at 2,000, because before the food gets to your mouth, most of the carbon emissions have been emitted. So, what I want to say, the benefit on top of sustainability is actually a little known fact that cyclists ends up building a foundation for responsible road use. In places like Netherlands and Holland, people, the minute they get out of this armor box of the car, they start to realize I'm responsible for what I do on the road. People see my face. If I block the road, people go, oh, Hubert, the other day I saw you blocking the road. So you end up being responsible for what you do on the road, and you have eye-to-eye contact with other drivers. So when I'm cycling, my level of observation is so good that I can see if you're texting, I can see if you're on the phone, and I go, I better not go in front of you because you're going to run me over. And as more bicycles get on the road, we will reduce congestion. Traffic engineers like to use this term called PCU, passenger car units. Okay? Any guess what is the PCU unit of a car? No, it was a trick question, it's 1, because PCU is defined after a car. So a bicycle has a PCU unit of 0.2. So for every car, you can have 5 bicycles for transport planning. So you can 5 times increase the capacity of roads by switching to bicycles. And as you start getting on bicycles, as cities start getting on bicycles, you actually rediscover your own town. So you go, Hubert, how do you rediscover your own place? I've been living in here for all this 10 years. It all comes back to my CyclingCV. So if you notice, in Perth, I was using bicycles for my main mode of transport. So when I was in Melbourne, I still had a car. So I was, doing pretty limited cycling. Once I got to Perth, look at that. I'm like going everywhere. It's like a spider web. I started to realize who's down the road. When I go out cycling, I can see people waking up, going to work. I can see people packing and getting ready for cafe and restaurants. You know, start to understand. So by doing this, you start to feel and care more about your own city, right? Because you see it happening before your own eyes. And my reason number 9, which I really like because there's lots of color, is because there's a lot of arts and culture behind cycling. Tour de France is this big festival of color, of arts. Every time they go into this city, there's this big rock concert, there's food, there's cheese, there's wine. It's amazing. And what we come to, we want to bring all this culture, all these good benefits, all these attitudes, civic attitudes to Penang. And hopefully our project becomes the reason number 10, that's in Penang Bike Share. And Penang Bike Share would be building 25 to 27 stations over a 2.5-year period. We'll be starting in Georgetown. We are talking government about doing a bit island-wide, but they would like us to start in Georgetown. And the idea of bike share in its core form, for some of you who may not know, is that you have a public bicycle, right, which you can use. Okay, you bring your either a bike pass registered with us, credit card, mobile phone, smartphone, and you go up and you can rent one of these for any station and cycle to any which one and return it there, or you can keep it for a few hours if you like. So the idea is no longer are you attached to your vehicle. No longer are you, do I worry, oh, where did I park my car? Where do I have to go back? You know, I just went around city all day today. Where did I park my car? Or when I go into the car park, which level did I park today? You know, and in the morning, I better get out before the traffic jam, you know. People blocking my car park, all that. In actual fact, most people's commutes, right, they have 5-10 minutes at the beginning before they even get out of the house, try and get the car ready. Then they drive, get stuck in the jam. Then they get to where they work and they need to find a car park. Especially worse if you're at Queens Bay today, you know, Queens Bay, oh, horrible, trying to find parking. So I'm trying to take that all away, right, and say, if you want to get from A to B, right, public transport is now an alternative, okay? You can take the bicycle from A to B, and you might need to cover a large distance to switch to bus, because our stations will be integrated with buses. And then you take the bus, where you need to get to, then you get off and into the bicycle, right? True last mile integration, and wherever I am today, there's a transport option for me. I don't have to worry about where my car was parked, whether it was in Prangin Mall, First Avenue, or Komta. Okay, so our philosophy for designing all this network is that is designed by Penang people for Penang people. There's our tagline, and it's actually how we work internally. Because when we first started this project, we went out on social media, went out on our website, on emails, our own contacts, and asked everybody, where would you like your stations? People came back to us and said, oh, Hubert, or more like Penang Bike Share, we like a station at Armenian Street. I mean, it's no-brainer, but we needed confirmation. We like a station at First Avenue. We like a station at City Bayview, at Gamma, at Komta. So based on that feedback, we've gone out and designed the network, and we'll continue to do so. The reason being, when we announced saying, this month we are building a station in Gamma, everybody, because you have voted for Gamma. People will go out and say, okay, maybe I'll contribute to the next round of design and planning. And they'll go, put in my votes and say, I'll like one at City Bayview next. And when this loop comes back, and we start building at City Bayview, it creates this loop of ownership where people feel that I am contributing and they are understanding and they are listening to my feedback. And there is an issue with a lot of government issues or public policy issues nowadays. right? Because people do not feel that they're being listened to and their issues are being translated into action. So we are trying to make full use of that, which is why our focus is away from the easy part, the infrastructure and all that. That would be done, it's not too difficult. The hard part is in the media and trying to make people understand how to change these habits, and that is beneficial for yourself, for the city, and for our city's future. So thank you very much for listening to me, and I hope all of you will get on the bicycle next year.